Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Worship Team Training Morning Show. We got Facebook Live rocking, and we got Periscope. What's going on? I'm Branon Dempsey of Worship Team Training, and man, it's so good to have you. We're just having a conversation here with our friends on Periscope, and just asking them about the whole idea of, how we're doing this Christmas season. We're going to be talking about making music and making great music. That's what you come here for. So thanks for that. So in the short run, I was just going to ask this question on Periscope. How are you guys doing with Christmas? It's just a few weeks away. It's not too far, and we still have kind of a long way to go at the same time, but yet it's gonna be here quick, man. So I hope that you guys are having a great Friday. It's great to have you. Again, my name is Branon Dempsey of worshipteamtraining.com. It's great to have you today. And man, it's just Friday already. It feels like the second week of December, even though it's not, right? It's just it's still the first week, and I think all of us are asking that same thing. So, yeah, exactly, Brittany. What's going on? How are you doing? Good to see you guys. Yeah, so I'm Branon Dempsey of worshipteamtraining.com. Great to have you today on our special Friday edition of the Worship Team Training Morning Show. And great to have you. So, man, I'm glad that you guys are doing good. We normally broadcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you know what? You guys show so much love when we do come on. We're going to start coming back a little bit more often on these Periscope and Facebook Live events. So you're going to be seeing more of what you're doing right now, and just engaging conversations like this and talking about worship and everything else that we can do. So who are these scopes for? And Periscope, the videos are for pastors, mainly worship leaders. Pastors in worship, but senior pastors too, audio tech, singers, musicians. And again, we come on at Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Central. Hey, look, if you haven't heard, man, I'm so excited. We got things just keep coming off, and we have a new book. If you haven't seen it already, we have a new book that's coming, and that's going to be on our good friends at Logos Bibles and Faith Life. And so that's going to be appearing sometime. They got me the message sometime at the end of this week or maybe next week. So if you would just sign up for our newsletter. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you. You guys have given us a huge amount of kudos, and we thank you, all you Bible.com YouVersion readers. We've had over 100,000 completions with our plans, and we say thank you for that. And we are right now putting things in book form, so that's exactly what you're going to be getting. And if you sign up for our e-news, our newsletter, our weekly newsletter, you'll get it right away. Once that book is released, you'll know right away. And also there's a freebie, so if you're brand new, then you get a free ebook on top of that. So can't miss it. All right. Awesome. So be sure to also check us out on Bible.com, which is our new devotional Prepare Him room. I'm just tweeting out these links right now on Facebook, and I'll put them also up later on the site. You can see the new book, The Gift and the Giver is what it's called. So it's called The Gift and the Giver. So who wants to get a copy? If you would, just go ahead and sign up. You can see the preview if you go to worshipteamtraining.com. And again, the subscribe button to the e-newsletter is right up in the upper right-hand corner. Also, you can preview the book at worshipteamtraining.com/The Gift and the Giver. So let's go ahead and move on. As I get into this music today, we're going to be covering Chris Tomlin's Joy to the World, Unspeakable Joy. We did that as a band last night, and we're meshing it together with some other tunes. And it was just a lot of fun. I don't think we got out of there until probably 9:15, which is late for us. No, I haven't. Treasure asked me on Periscope if I've seen Clarence Keys. No, I need to see what's going on. Clarence is my good sidekick, but he's had some school stuff going on from what I understand, and hasn't been able to be with us as much as we would like. So just keep him in your prayers, because I know he's trying to finish. Off topic, nobody... Thanks for that. Bradley's reminding me and everybody else that nobody drinks coffee like the way I do. So, or the way I can, right? If you're following us on Snapchat, you'll see all the goofy stuff that we put up there. That's Worship TT. That's our Snapchat handle. Big shout out to all you guys following us on Spreaker and listening to us by iTunes. So thanks so much for subscribing to the podcast. Let's jump right into the music. Let me ask a question. I was going to, this is what I want to start off today. where is your mind right now with Christmas? And when it comes to music, and when it comes to everything else that you may be going through, what are some of the things that cause you to pause and think about the Lord and think about His worship? Because I can tell you right now that I've talked with a few worship leaders this past week, and they told me that their heads are actually not into the Christmas step right now. And I know for each of us, it can be the same. I mean, we're doing so much every week, no matter what ministry you're involved in the church. So I want to know from you, what do you do to keep yourself balanced? What do you do to keep yourself sane during this Christmas season as we head towards the manger? I talked about that this past Tuesday. It's a journey. This is what Advent is about, the coming of Jesus, but also pointing to His second coming when He will return. So I just ask you, Periscope, Facebook Live, you guys would just go ahead and also by the podcast, stay in the Word, Bradley says. Awesome. Thank you for that, Bradley. If you guys got something to say, a question, idea, thought, please let us know. Just type in the comment box window. That's what it's there for. And like I said, I want to be coming back at you more often throughout the week. And instead of just Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to have some one-offs here and there and everything. So again, what keeps you sane during Christmas? I mean, you may be listening to us by podcast right now, and you may be thinking, yeah, I haven't even thought about that. I Snapchatted another worship leader last night, and just say, hey, how you doing? And she just said, you know what? I haven't even thought about Christmas. And she felt really bad. She said, I know I'm in the planning of it right now with my pastor, but I have not even thought about that with my own family until the day that we get there. She felt bad. She said, maybe I should be. And I thought to myself, you know, that's isn't that just like us? Brittany says, play music that resembles the season. Yeah, that's a great idea, Brittany. I know when we came back from the Thanksgiving gravy, I felt like I was just kind of sopping through, you know, on Sunday as it's the first week of Advent. Now we're heading into the second week of Advent. It just got me thinking, you know, if we're singing songs like Joy to the World, are we really having that joy within our hearts first? Are we really treasuring Christ first in His Word? So let's get right to it. How does that work with music making? Well, if you're following us on our blog and our website, which is worshipteamtraining.com, you can find yesterday's article, which is Joy to the World, the music tutorial, and I called it Make Better Music, because when we think about Christmas music, a lot of the times we're thinking, man, you know, what's this going to be like? This is kind of like how do I make this Christmas song come alive? What can I do to make it inspiring? It sounds like the same old thing. So that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm just going to give you like the head link of where we're at. Again, it's Make Better Music. You can find it back at worshipteamtraining.com. It's Joy to the World. It's our tutorial on Joy to the World. So let's go ahead and get to that, all right? This song is brought to you by, of course, Chris Tomlin, Ed Cash, George Frederick Handel, and Isaac Watts, of course, who originally wrote the song. Chris Tomlin put a fresh spin on it. You may be familiar with it. It came out back in 2009, so not brand new, but it's still kind of new. And some churches actually are now coming around to actually doing this arrangement. I love it because I love the chorus of it. And I'll get into that in a second. Big shout out to Scott Hussey at guytracks.co is where you can find this track right here behind me. So let's get right to it, shall we? And if you got questions along the way, please let us know what they are. Just go ahead and dial in. Just type in the comment box window. And right now I'm going to get our track ready. So I got everything loaded on Logic right behind me that you can see. And I'm playing with what's called just a regular loop track, okay? So what I have is we have the original version that's queued up with our drum loops and everything else. So if you're listening, if you're watching, here's just a little demonstration of the new song. Well, again, it's not new, but it's new for a lot of folks who haven't seen it and heard it before. Joy to the World. So let's get right to it, shall we?
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
And we're in the key of D. Here we go to the chorus. All right. Okay, so that right there is just a demonstration of the track itself. We're starting in key of D, and then we move to E. That's where the tune was going. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about like what I'm doing as a guitar player in relation to what's happening with the track. So basically, I was trying to get some of my settings, getting my settings queued up for my effects. So as a guitar player, I'm just trying to play just simple eighth notes, and I have like an eighth note delay. I'm not using the infamous dotted eighth delay that you typically hear, as I want to keep things cleaner. And I'm also trying to back off a lot on some of the reverb and some of the overdrive. Just want to keep things nice and clean. So as I'm just playing, so I'm just trying to play a little bit of a rhythm there, just to keep things fresh and just to keep things live without dirtying it up too much. So what I like about this arrangement is that basically you can just ride the D forever. Just joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let all the songs employ, right? So it's got these turnarounds going up to the B minor. I like that a lot. But he listens to the whole track. I mean, it's got a very good freshness to it. So it's not just stale, and it's not just piano sounding and clunky sounding. So I'll go through a little bit of, talk about the music. If you look at the blog, the article on this tutorial, one thing that you'll notice within the music is that everything stays nice and separate and clean. So if you go to, thanks Brittany, I like it too, it's a great arrangement. If you talk about the groove, let's kind of go there real quick, and I'll just catch you up to speed on what's happening with the groove right here. I'll play it for you. Okay, here's your groove right here. So right here we have everything is just nicely placed. Okay, now you have, your basic is just your drums and your bass and a little bit of guitar and your piano. What I want to do real quick is zero in on what the piano is doing, okay? Now, on previous posts on the videos, we had some people that were concerned about, well, how much should I play, should I not play? And the idea was, well, hey, I am a pianist, and I want to use all my gifts and all my hands. Let me just address that to say that absolutely you're right. What we're trying to do is to fit that in a band context, because typically the way that you would play by yourself as an instrumentalist would not be the same way as you're playing within a team. So even on this recording, let's listen to what the piano is doing, and you'll find out that what they're doing is actually pretty small. So let's hear that real quick. I'll play a little bit of the band track, and then I'll just solo out everybody else. Mute everybody else, and then just solo into the piano. So here we go. There's the band, now the piano. Here we go, just the piano track only. Not a lot happening there, just a little bit of rhythm, but it gives everybody else as a band to play around with. Like if I'm a guitar player, Okay, so as I'm playing along with the piano, again, it's keeping things pretty basic, and that's what it should be doing. So that's why I say the number one point, I list the 21 things, the 21 points of what to do to help you play, to make music more creative, to make music a lot more fun. And it comes down to grooves, so that begins with the fundamental basics of what's happening. Even within that piano part, you know, they were just playing, you know, just, I know I'm just playing with a little bit of guitar here, but again, the whole idea is keeping everything simplified and solid, because the better that you can do that as an individual musician, then the better that you're creating space and the more solid foundation you're giving to the whole band. So that leads me to number 2. Don't ever underestimate the power of intros and choruses. This is the most memorable part of the song that people know. So when we launch into this chorus right here, you'll hear how big it really is. So let's turn to that. Okay. So we're heading up to the chorus right now. Heaven and nature sing. There's the intro figure again. Now here's the chorus. Listen to the difference. All right. So Scott's playing a joke on me, so actually I didn't realize I need to be up here. Here we go. Here's the chorus right here. Let's lead into that, and then you get this. Repeat the soundings. We're coming out of verse 2. And here's the chorus. All right. So again, even as I'm playing right there, you can hear that I'm opening up the strums a lot more. Speak up, right? So at that point, you know, then I'm playing a lot more out, and I'm not having to worry about getting in the way, because at that point, I'm following the pattern of what's happening within the verse. Things open up during the chorus, and there you have it. So here's one other thing too, just going back to that 21-point list. Don't be afraid, never underestimate, again, the power of the intro and the chorus. Also, don't be afraid to introduce drum loops. Now, here I have a complete track behind me, but if I wanted to make things a little bit more interesting with, let's say, just all I had was, you know, a drummer, and I wanted to maybe spice things up a bit within the band, you know, I can add like a backing loop with this. So if I was playing along, thanks, Barry. All right, so something like that simple. Something that simple is you're just adding a drum layer on top of whatever the whole band is doing. Now, I recommend when you do this, make sure that your drummer and your band, they're used to playing with a click, because if not, the loop won't work. The loop falls around by a click, so that's very, very important. So if I'm to do that again and add in the bass guitar, and I want to start back. Okay, so here you'll notice that even in the playing that I was just doing right there, I wasn't playing everywhere all on top of the music. I mean, I knew my part. I'm trying to play and fill in the little holes without overplaying, and not everything is a strum, not everything is overly done. So when you're playing with a loop, that's the most important thing, because there's so much going on in the music. If you as a musician are overplaying to that track, then it can be problematic. So another point, number 4, and this is something that I stress very strongly when working with bands, is making sure that the kick and the bass guitar are locked in. This is not a new concept, but it's often something that people will tend to not take as seriously. So when you're thinking about bass guitar and the kick, meaning the bass drum of the drum kit, both those have to be locked in. So if you're a worship leader that maybe you don't know much about drums, you don't know what the bass guitar does, I encourage you to spend a little bit more time with your bass player and your drummer and get a better understanding of what they do and how they play together. And then you can witness it. You can witness at that point, what the bass drum is doing, what the guitar, the bass guitar is doing. Are they locking in together? Some say that, there are musicians that can't tell time very well, but you got a good ear. I mean, things are pretty obvious, and I say that tongue in cheek because there are some musicians that, you know who they are in your band. They think that they're, the best guitar player in the world, and you're kind of like, well, it doesn't take much for you to discern what sounds good and what doesn't. So what I'm saying is that as a leader, even as a musician, really self-evaluate what's happening within your team. Listen to the bass player and the drummer. Humidity, I love that. Humility, right? Scott says on Periscope. Scott's the creator of this track, by the way, so shout out to you, Scott. Thanks so much, man. But humility it's learning how to take a step back, and even if somebody's listening to your playing, that could be some of the most hardest things I would say the most critical thing to accept as a musician or singer is somebody evaluating you, right? Well, if you want to be a good musician and a better singer, then you have to be open to constructive criticism. And it doesn't mean that someone's standing over you saying, no, that sounds terrible. It's more of a, hey, have you thought about playing it this way? Have you thought about singing this note instead? And you being open to it as a musician, this is huge, because look, if you want to get better at what you do, it's got to start with humility. I mean, the best players that we know in the whole world are guys and gals that know how to take feedback. They know who they are, and they keep their own personhood in check, and they're not worried about somebody hurts their feelings. It's not about that. It's really about making things better. We had a few people on our site that was kind of their question of, man, am I, what you said is great, but it kind of, I take that a little bit personally. Well, again, as a musician, when you're trying to get better and better what you're doing, you want to skew out the personal feelings and learn how to better adapt and to get good. I mean, my professors, and people that I've learned from in studio and performance, they never looked over at me and said, am I hurting your feelings? I mean, no, they were kind of like, look, Branon, this is what you do to get better. And hey, this doesn't sound that great, so go ahead and fix it. I had to look at that through the lens of, okay, these people are helping me. They're spending time with me. They're investing in me to make me good. It's not that they don't like me or they don't want to be my friend. That has nothing to do with that. So anyway, I harped on that enough, sorry. Again, making sure things like the kick and bass locked in, I think we hammered that out pretty well. Keyboard players, invest in your sounds and in your effects. If you are playing with a synth, if you're playing with a synth that maybe it only has like 100 tones on it, maybe, I would do this. I would just invest in getting a good software program for if you have a Mac or another like a PC laptop. I'm not sure what PC has. I use Mac, but there's hundreds of different great PC programs for synthesizers, keyboards, as well as especially for Mac. If you use GarageBand, that's one too. Soundstage, that's one of the bigger ones that we use. But there's smaller programs out there. There's a lot of free programs out there. But just take the time to learn about MIDI. I don't even think they use MIDI much anymore except for controlling lights, but USB and Bluetooth. If you have a keyboard that takes a USB or if it takes a regular MIDI cable, learn about what that does. Learn how to hook it up to your computer and see what it does. I speak with a lot of piano players that tell me, Brandon, I'm afraid of even touching my own computer at home. That's fine. But just learn how to reintroduce yourself to technology, because you'll be amazed of the great, fantastic sounds you can use and what it can do for your worship. Like the recording that you heard right here. These guys, at godtracks.co, also at Default Sounds, David Faltzgraf, they make incredible sounds. And so it's all for the tool belt. I mean, it's just like what I was saying before, your professor or your mentor coming at you and saying, hey, you can do this, you can make this sound good. That's what these pros do. They just help you sound better, learn better, make worship better. And that's why we titled this video today, Make Music Better, Make It Better. So let me move on. Intermix the hand drums and percussion. We have that on the track as well. So you'll see that we have the percussion track right here, and I'll give you a demonstration of what that does. So I want to unmute that and solo it. And so if I'm playing right here, and I want to back that up just a little bit. So right here, just a simple tambourine, okay? You can even have that on a loop as well. So if I were to mix that with a piano, let's say, all right, so right there, I'm just kind of demonstrating what all the different things that you can do within your music. I mean, if you got a tambourine player, great, percussion track, whatever. But just the simplicity of hearing what that piano does with the tambourine, I mean, try it out for yourself. I mean, just be bold enough, are you brave enough to just take a song and just for the entire verse, just let the pianist play. And maybe just a light percussion just to hold things together, and then let the whole band come in. I mean, hey, it takes bravery when you're in a band. It takes bravery to be patient and to be silent when needed to. So, what are your questions so far? I mean, I've talked quite a bit, and I don't want to keep on going and lose anyone. So, if you guys would on Periscope, Facebook Live, also if you're listening by the podcast, just let us know what your question is. Just comment. Let us know. I'll hear it. I'll get back with it because you guys are already commenting, and so it's awesome. So thanks for that. So yeah, try different things. Here's another idea. If you're a drummer, and I'm going over time, so I'm sorry. This is a little bit longer than our typical broadcast, but thank you for hanging in because I didn't come to you yesterday, so I'm making up from yesterday and giving you a longer special show. I hope that's okay. So. Regarding your drums, have you thought about retuning? You thought about maybe tuning the kick drum, the bass drum a little bit, maybe a little bit higher or maybe a little deeper. The same thing with your snares, the toms. Make sure that the pitches are wider and broader between toms. You can also do things like, change out the cymbals. That can give you a new sound. I know drummers that have more than just one snare drum. They usually travel with 2 or 3. And yeah, absolutely, Scott says on Periscope, get new heads. My goodness. I have, like you, the experience of working with drummers that it's been 15 years since they've changed the heads on their drums. And, you can see all the cobwebs and spiders that fell into the shell of the drum. And you're like, well, and they may say, yeah, but my drums sound pretty good. They may. But how much better will they sound if you crisp them up a little bit? Yeah, they do lose their tone and their tension over time. So if you don't change your heads, how often do you change your heads? I think once a year maybe is probably like a good rule of thumb. Some drummers change them depending on how much they play. I mean, touring drummers, they go through heads like they go through guitar strings. But once a year is a pretty good rule of thumb. That's what we do. The same thing with Anyway, getting back to like your snares, try a different snare drum, maybe a piccolo drum or a deep drum, a deep snare. Also, sticks are a huge thing. So if you're a drummer, I mean, use different sizes of sticks. Don't just stay with the typical 5As, or 9As. I mean, get something that's a little bit like, I'd say this, the size of sticks for a drummer are like size of gauges for guitar strings for guitar players. They're going to produce a different tone. They're going to have a different feel. They're going to have a different response. So if you have lighter sticks maybe, you'll have a different response than you would to heavier sticks. The same thing with incorporating brushes and hot rods. I mean, there's all a plethora of things that you can use. So just some ideas here. And now moving on through the rest of the 21 points, you can see everything else that I have on the blog site. And that, again, that post is at worshipteamtraining.com/joy to the world. That's where I have the 21 things. So more than anything, of the changes that you make with your music, make it minimal. Don't put like a brand new guitar parts, brand new drums, brand new cymbals, brand new mix. It could be way too much. It could be too much for your team and too much for your church. I would just introduce one thing at a time. That's what worked for us, because any new change is going to be a big change. So my man is on with us. What's up, Jermaine? What's going on, man? It's good to see you on Periscope. Great to see you. It's been so long. Leon, what's up, man? Great to see you, my friend. So also guitar players, I mean, when's the last time that you've changed out your strings, changed out your pedals? I mean, I'm looking down here right now and I'm already seeing improvements that I can make within my board. I got my, I use the Line 6 Pod HD500. I'm hoping to upgrade to a Helix. I dig the sound. But anyway, these are just some things that you can try with your band. Have them. Victoria, what's up? How are you on Periscope? Good to see you. Yeah, so again, guitar players, make sure that, I change my strings probably once every other week. It's just because of the frequency that I play. Sometimes I have to change them once a week if we have a lot of services during that week. The strings can get oily from your fingers. They do detune just like a drum head. They can lose their tension. They can lose their tone. They can become maybe brittle over a long time. So I would look at working your guitar tone, making sure things stay clean the neck, the frets, all that stuff. And that's what I do to keep up my tone. And even as I'm playing right now, I'm noticing things about my guitar. Wow, yeah, I got to change strings before Sunday. So that's a good rule of thumb. If you're any musician, be aware of what's happening with your instrument. If you play saxophone, flute, Diodario, we love Diodario. We're Diodario people here. If you play guitar, you play piano, always be in tune with your instrument, making sure that, hey, this part's not working right. And if you find things about your instrument that are not working well during the week, don't put it off. Fix it, because if you don't fix it, it's going to cause a huge hazard when you get to rehearsal, and especially if it's on Sunday morning. So fix it good and fix it fast. All right. So some things about a singer. She says, Victoria says, I'm a singer. Check me out sometime. You're about to follow me. Okay, great. As a singer, what should vocalists do? All right. Now, for vocal standpoint, there's a lot of different things you can do within the song. We're talking about Joy to the World. I would find out what the tone and what the music is calling for. And if you need a heavy vocal, then great. If it needs more of a light vocal, then lay off a little bit. Victoria, thanks for inviting your friends here on Periscope. And thanks for all the likes, by the way, you guys. Awesome. So as I'm talking about making good music, yeah, it's blending. If you're a vocalist, you want to make sure you sing out. You want to make sure that it's not, joy to the world, and it's, you have your mouth kind of closed, but make it more like, joy to the world, the Lord is come. You want to sing out more, but don't oversing, because that's just going to get in the way, especially if you're working with a team. So just another point there. And also tighten up the vocal line. If you have like 4 or 5 singers on a mic that each of them are singing different syllables, different rhythm, it can be problematic. It could sound like a herd of horses coming, or cows coming through. So you want to make sure. Thanks, Scott. He says he didn't think my mouth changed between the two examples, but they did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be laughing. So, anyway, you want to make sure that everyone is singing, joy to the world, and the dee da da da, the melody, the pitch, the rhythm is right on it. If you have different people coming in different places, it's going to sound bad, especially if you're all on microphones. It's just going to amplify that problem. So these are just a few things. I mean, I could think of, you can think of 1,000 different more. So if you can, awesome. And let us know. I mean, go ahead and type in your comment. And if it's something that maybe we're not showing or talking about that you want to see more of, well, that's what it's here for. Go ahead and comment and let us know inside the comment window what's going on, your questions, your ideas, and how we can better serve you. That's what we do here at worshipteamtraining.com. So be sure to sign up for our e-news. That's our weekly newsletter that goes out every Monday. It's called our Monday Morning Digest. It keeps you up for the rest of what happened during the past week. Article, videos, news, updates, the new book that's coming. So don't forget that. So sign up today. You can go to worshipteamtraining.com/e-news or just worshipteamtraining.com. Go to the upper right-hand corner and you'll find everything there. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed this Joy to the World tutorial, just to talk a little bit through it. Again, there's 1,000 things that I know I could be sharing more of, but we only have so much time. So anyway, thanks for joining us today. Love you guys. Have a fantastic day in the Lord. And we'll see you guys coming up this coming Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time with our next Advent series and also our next article and our next theme. So that launches this coming Sunday. So bless you, Victoria. Thank you guys for watching today. Thanks for coming in. Love you. And we'll see you guys very soon. Have an awesome Sunday. Bye.